Summer Rain by Ian Roman. Part 1. We free the soul when we write. Chapter 2. One day, Mr. Cullen came by for a chat, and he asked me,
"Did you take out the girl for dinner?"
as if he knew something. "No."
"Okay, so you like her since you didn't ask which girl."
We both started laughing, and she was watching us. I didn't say yes or no. A customer showed up. I served him without noticing that Mr. Cullen had disappeared from beside me. After a few minutes, I saw him coming towards me, walking along the flowers aisle, but with no intention of stopping.
"She didn't want to give it to me."
He was heading towards the exit, where his flower pots were. "To give you what?" I stopped him.
"The phone number."
"Who to give you the phone number?" I hoped he wouldn't mention her.
"Alexandra. I went to her and asked for her phone number. I told her it's not for me, but for you,"
he said, thinking he was doing me a favor. "Did I tell you to ask her the phone number?" She was observing our conversation and gestures, whatever she could see from where she was. I felt incredibly embarrassed.
"I thought I was doing you a favor since you're too shy,"
he said as he left towards the exit, heading back to his flowers. I felt overwhelmed with shame. I tried to keep myself occupied, to avoid looking directly at her. Occasionally, I stole glances, and I noticed she was looking at me, too. I felt a bit frustrated, thinking that if I ever had a chance with her, Mr. Cullen had ruined it for me. Not even an hour passed when I noticed her approaching me. I couldn't even look at her as she came closer. I was so embarrassed, and think I wanted to run away from there.
"Can I have a popcorn, please? No salt. Anything else, but no salt, please,"
she added as I was inside the kiosk. I brought her the popcorn, and she handed me the money, but as I reached for the banknote, she held onto the other end and said, in a superior tone,
"If you wanted my phone number, why didn't you come and ask me in person?"
I didn't have the courage to say anything. What else could I have told her? You know it's not true, that I didn't want it. Whatever I would have said, she wouldn't have believed me. She took the bag of popcorn and walked away from me, leaving me in my state of foolishness. I kept avoiding eye contact, pretending not to notice her when she returned.
"Can I have another popcorn, please? Same without salt,"
she asked in a familiar tone that concealed something. "Did you eat that entire bag?" I responded to let her know I had caught on to her plan.
"Yes, actually, I accidentally drop it."
And she handed me the money. I stared at her for a few seconds, giving her the impression that I didn't believe her, then went inside to get her the popcorn. I handed her the bag, and at that moment, she took my hand and slipped a crumpled note into my palm.
"Make sure not to bother me."
As she closed my palm into a fist, I said nothing or make any gesture, just kept looking at her. I do not know how I managed it, but at that moment, an immense joy invaded my whole body. She walked away, and I remained looking at her. I had saved her number, but I didn't text to her. Honestly, I was a little upset about how she told me, make sure not to bother me. In that night, around 11 p.m., I sent her a text message. "Hi, I'm Ian, the guy from the kiosk." Not even a minute passed, and I received a reply, "Why took you so long?" In that moment, I felt like I was in chains for my entire life, and with that message, she unleashed me. I wanted to respond straight away, but I knew she was testing me, and I would enter her game, so I ignored her. The next day, I eagerly waited for the Flower Queen to show up. Around 8:20 a.m., I received a text message from her. "You have only one chance. Meet me for a coffee at 3M Cafe. You have 10 minutes to get here." From her message, I muttered to myself, who does she think she is, treating me like such a fool? I spoke with Gina, my neighbor from the fruit stand. I read her the text message but didn't tell her who it was from.
"Go for it, Ian. Don't be a fool. At least you'll get to have an excellent coffee today."
I didn't really want to go. Her superior attitude had irritated me a lot. I stopped a moment to think, and after I decided, "You know what, Gina, you're right. I'll go. After all, I have nothing to lose."
That's the spirit. Don't worry, I'll monitor to your kiosk.
The 3M Cafe wasn't far, just a 5-minute walk. I'd be lying if I said I didn't hurry. I walked faster, not running. When I arrived at the cafe, I looked around, but there was no sign of her. She's just making fun of me, I said to myself. Since I was already there, I got myself a takeaway coffee. As I exited the cafe, I saw a familiar silhouette on the terrace. It was her. I approached her and whispered, "Here you are hiding."
"You're late. I should get up and leave now."
"Do as you wish. I came just to get my coffee."
fine, I see you got a coffee already. I'll stay for 5 minutes more.
As if she was doing me a favor. Of course, she stayed for over 5 minutes. We talked about everything. Neither of us wanted to find out what was attractive about the other. We were looking for weaknesses. When we left, we agreed not to show up together and separated. I took one entrance, and she took to the usual entrance where I waited for her every day. That coffee was so strong that woke both of us up, and we started texting to each other more often. As usual, she took the initiative and called me one evening. I wasn't giving in so easily, so I rejected her call. Immediately, I received a message. "I'm sorry, I didn't know I was bothering you." At that moment, I realized it was more than just a game she wanted to show, so I called her back. "Hello, sorry, I accidentally rejected your call." Trying to play it cool.
If I was doing the same now, and reject your call, what you would say?
With a hint of revenge. "I knew you wouldn't do that."
Oh really? Well, bye then.
And she hung up. I chuckled with satisfaction. Her reaction was brilliant. I loved it. I wanted to call her back, but I still had no intention of giving in so easily. After 5 minutes, she called me back.
Have you run out of minutes?
In a tone to seem superior. "I have unlimited." To match her tone.
What do you want from me, kid?
She continued to act like the boss. "Why do you call me kid?" I was surprised, as we seemed to be around the same age.
Well, how old are you?
Still with a superior tone. 23, and you?
How I said, you're just a kid.
She was testing me to see how I'd react. "All right then, I don't talk to old ladies, bye." Confidently, and I hung up. She was 24 years old and was trying to appear superior in front of me. In 10 minutes, she texted me the message I was expecting to receive. "Are you upset, kid? What plans do you have for Sunday?" I was laughing. I loved her attitude. It motivated me even more. I played along and replied, "I'm going to play hopscotch in the schoolyard. Want to join?" I had to match her level of playfulness. She replied, "I wanted to take you out, but if you have plans, that's fine. Just be careful not to bump into something." She amused me greatly. Honestly, I adored her. I replied, "Wouldn't be the first time I bumped into something." At work, I watched her all day long and loved it when she scolded me with her gaze. "Why do you keep following me?" I couldn't help but smile. I was in love. I watched her approach, coming to buy her the daily dose of water.
I'm thirsty. I want water.
In a familiar tone. "Oops, Miss Good Morning seems to have left her manners at home." I laughed, teasing her a bit. It brought me so much joy.
We've become familiar now.
Her response gave me hope. I brought the water and told her, "You know, I won't be playing hopscotch on Sunday anymore. One guy got injured." Hinting that I was available for her.
Really? What a shame. You need to find another game then.
She left with the same grace, leaving me laughing and watching her every step. Later that day, I received a text message. I rarely got text messages. Anyone who needed me would call or know where to find me. Without looking at the phone, I glanced at her. She was signaling with her eyes for me to check my phone. In the text message was written, "Sunday 4 p.m. I looked at her and nodded in approval. During the day, we played with our glances, and there was a sparkle in both our eyes. Then, we would part ways and resort to communicating only through messages. In our neighborhood, we have a bench in the block's corner where we gathered in the evenings. During the warm summer evenings, we would stay for a chat and a beer, as neighborhood guys do. When she drove by with her father after work, she always saw me there with the boys. That's why she never texted me before 10 p.m., thinking she might bother me. As usual one evening, she texted first, "What are you doing? Am I bothering you, or have you arrived home?" I replied, "I'm home, but you never bother me." Honestly, I was sitting on the balcony looking at the starry sky, thinking about her. That's what I had been doing for several nights. I always wondered, does she think about me too? Then she called me.
What are you doing?
She implied she wasn't expecting a simple answer. "I'm in bed," I answered, trying to hide that I was thinking about her.
And?
She tried to get me to say what she wanted to hear. "And what?" I pretended not to understand what she wanted to find out.
Why aren't you sleeping?
It was as if she was scolding me for not telling her the truth. I took a moment to answer, trying to play it cool. "I was thinking about something, that's all. Just random thoughts, nothing special." Hiding the fact that I was thinking about her.
Oh really? What could be so important to keep you up?
She teased me playfully. To be honest, I'm on the balcony, looking at the sky and thinking about you. I felt relieved after telling her the truth.
Same here. Something is happening to me, and it's not okay.
She changed her tone, trying to hide the truth. You've fallen in love with me, I said playfully, pretending as if I wasn't in the same position.
You're not that lucky.
She replied, trying to play it cool. Or maybe you. We both started laughing.
So, how long have you been thinking about me?
She said, as if she wasn't in the same situation. Since you scolded me for looking at you with the guys. I hinted I liked her reaction. And you? As a rhetorical question.
Since today.
She knew I didn't believe her from her response. I'm sure. I implied with a tone to understand that I didn't believe her. We continued talking and having fun. I'm not the type to stay on call for too long, but with her was a pleasure. We didn't even realize it was almost dawn. I slept for a few hours, but I wasn't tired. When I woke up, I felt energetic and impatient. I was going to see her. During the day at work, we stared at each other passionately, and in the evenings, we talked for hours. I started calling her too, and we grew even closer. It wasn't just a battle of egos anymore. We had formed a deeper connection. I felt a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. I knew there was something special between us, and I couldn't wait to see her on that Sunday. Next chapter is coming soon. Thanks for your attention.